Welcome to another instalment of the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. As you can see, it's wet here, which means one thing: we're at Anglesey Circuit. One of the drivers' favourites normally, but probably not so much this weekend. Now, the race 1B is about to get underway, and I'm going to have a quick chat with Ivan Leary, who, as most of you should know, has been around for quite a long time in this championship, so he knows everything, so he does know this track quite well. Now, I know with it being wet, it's a bit of a disadvantage, but Ivan, you're normally quite good in the wet, so can you give any tips to us of what we should expect?
Well, no, we're all really learning on these new tyres, but they seem to be much grippier than the old ones, so yeah, no, I'm fairly comfortable in the wet, hopefully. I'll just try and keep it on the black stuff and let's see if we can bring it home in a position with a bit of luck.
Perfect. Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Right, fingers crossed we see him on the podium, but we're going to hand it straight over to Andy McEwen to run you through what happens in this race.
Thanks, Lindsay. Time for you to go and find somewhere warm and dry, I think, to enjoy this one from. Adrian Burge will be enjoying sitting on pole position, no doubt. Ivan Leary alongside him. Christina Holly and Ben Hansey share the second row, ahead of Tom Mallet and Clive Chisnall, with Matthew Fletcher and Michael Nibbs on row 4. Simon Orange and Michael Close round out the top 10, ahead of Bryn Griffiths and Doug McGregor. Then Andrew McGregor and Christopher Ginn on row 7, ahead of Bruce Robinson and Paul Hughes. Then Jack Wilmot, Richard Bartlett, Steve Moody and Graham Rumsey round out the top 20. Remember, we've got the top 5 drivers in this race that get promoted to the A grid tomorrow, where things are supposed to brighten up slightly. Right now though, it's overcast, it's cold, it's damp, it's not raining anymore, but the circuit is definitely quite greasy, and that could maybe lead to a bit of a shuffling of the order. So getting ready then to go racing. The grey and orange car on the inside of row 1 is Adrian Burge. There from the outside of row 1 is Ivan Leary. The red lights go out, we're away in racing. Ben Hansey makes a good start from 3rd on the grid and immediately pulls to the left hand side of the road. It's Burge that leads the way, and Hansey goes through to 2nd position ahead of Ivan Leary. On board here with Bruce Robinson coming through the first corner. To the outside there are cars all around him, as you'd expect really in the early stages here. Down to the banking they go then for the first time of asking. The wide line being taken here by the onboard car. So far so good though, they've all avoided contact. It's Burge leading the way, Hansey 2nd, Leary is still 3rd, then side by side behind him for 4th. There, the black car on the outside line is Andrew McGregor. To the inside of him is Doug McGregor. The two McGregors have got themselves together there in the midfield. They started 12th and 13th with Doug just ahead of Andrew. The hill they go, the silver car there of Clive Chisnall pulls to the outside line going up the hill and gets eased over to the edge of the road, shall we say. There wasn't actually any contact, but he certainly got manoeuvred over to the left-hand side of the track there. When you look at how close it is in the midfield though, it's a wonder they don't make contact more often. Brilliant driving standards so far, but it is very slippery out there indeed. And Christopher Ginn there finding just how slippery it is, gets sideways, and he spins, he's collected by Andrew McGregor, and that was a real shame for Andrew, who's got off the road, and has rolled. I think he's clipped that tyre barrier and rolled upside down, and unfortunately Andrew McGregor's car deposits itself in very unceremonious fashion at the side of the road. The red flag will fly, the race being stopped, and that was not what we wanted to happen. Restart time then, red lights go out, let's try this again for the first B race of the weekend. It's another good start made from pole position by Adrian Burge, but this time Ivan Leary gets into 2nd position, so he fends off Ben Hansey initially. On board again with Bruce Robinson, who also has had a slightly better start, I think, this time than he did last time around. Seems to be slightly less congested around him as they go towards the right-hander at the banking. Cars going left, cars going right, everyone tried to find some grip. Clive Chisnall found no grip on the inside line, got very sideways. On the outside there's a sideways car as well. That was number 52 getting sideways, Jack Wilmot there, the white and purple AB Motorsport machine. 3 abreast through Church Court. You'd think they'd learn, wouldn't you? But this is Mazda MX-5 racing for you. Clive Chisnall this time on the right-hand side of the road goes one side, Ivan Leary goes the other, and the man in the middle going backwards was number 82, Michael Nibbs, unfortunately. So wide line through the left-hander, carry good speed down the straight, and then maybe have a go under braking for the tight right-hander, one of the tightest corners on the track. However, Wilmot's seen this one coming and is moving over to the middle of the road to defend. So Holly won't be able to get up the inside, or will she? She tries it, there's a bit of a touch, bit of a tap. But no, their way through, and sensibly there, she didn't force the issue. As on to the final lap of the race now goes Ben Hansey, so the race victory looking reasonably secure, despite the fact that Adrian Burge is a bit closer to him than he'd like. It doesn't look as though Burge is going to be able to really launch a serious attack here on the final lap of the race. Hansey out in front. He's pulling back away, in fact, now on this this final lap. Adrian Burge and Clive Chisnall looking likely to join him on the podium, and then it's between Simon Orange and Michael Nibbs for 5th, but Tom Mallett and Ivan Leary aren't far behind them either, so the final transfer spot could be an interesting one on the last lap. Out in front though, it's all fairly static. I think these three just happy to be in one of those transfer spots. They'll really fight tomorrow for not promotion, but to avoid relegation then in the second of the A races. They will certainly be hoping that we don't see any more of them in the B races this weekend. Once you progress, you don't really want to then find yourself slipping back again. And Hansi there, slipping and sliding his way out of the second part of Rocket, still pushing hard and still finding that he doesn't have a huge amount of traction in these slippery conditions. Car does seem to be moving around a lot. Maybe tells me that he did go for a fairly wet setup, a fairly soft setup, which now that it's drying is maybe not quite as comfortable as he would like. This part of the circuit seems noticeably wetter, doesn't it, though, than some of the other parts, so he should be okay from now to the flag, which is now only 2 corners away for Ben Hansi. I don't think we've seen Adrian Burge on the podium yet this year, though, so this would be a nice result for him. Clive Chisnall's been there or thereabouts all year, particularly in the B races, but Ben Hansi will definitely be keeping his eyes forward. Once he gets into that A race tomorrow morning, will want to try and move further up the order, that's for sure. And he's got good pace this weekend to do it as well. And it looks as though the first B win of the day is going to go to Ben Hansi. Comes out of the final corner, sees the checkered flag, and race 1B here at Anglesey is won by Ben Hansi in fairly commanding fashion. 1.8 seconds the margin in the end, back to Adrian Burge in second and Clive Chisnall in third position. Simon Orange was, I believe, ahead of Michael Nibbs for 4th place, and here we see the confirmation of that result. Indeed, it was Orange in 4th, and Michael Nibbs rounds out the promotional spots. Ivan Leary then misses out from the front row. Tom Mallett, Bryn Griffiths, Jack Wilmot and Matthew Fletcher round out the top 10, ahead of Graham Rumsey, Doug McGregor, who did get to the finish, Christopher Ginn, Michael Close was 14th, Richard Bartlett and Rob Mugglestone at the back. Christina Holly was unfortunately disqualified post-race for overtaking during that red flag period, which is a shame. She'll have to come from the back of the grid in race 2.
Ben, massive congratulations. That was quite a difficult race out there. Could you quickly talk me through it?
Yeah, so the conditions were really greasy, and with the red flag on the first start, sort of the conditions were drying, so it was a little bit unsure about where the track was going to go and how the conditions were going to end up. But kind of got out into lead fairly early on, and then was just kind of managing the gap.
Race 2B is about to get underway here at Anglesey for the Mazda MX-5 Championship, and the weather's completely changed from yesterday. It is bright and sunny here. Now we have Martin Tolley leading the pack today. Normally we would see him in the A group, so I'm going to quickly find out what was the issue. Martin, I believe now that everybody's on the same platform with the tyres, is it just the tyres that we're struggling with?
Yeah, I think we learnt a lesson yesterday about using brand new shaved tyres on a wet circuit and not putting the right temperatures in there. That lesson's come home to roost. We're now on the pole position in the B race. New tyres, new knowledge, new data, new problems, all of which we've got to learn very quickly to ensure that we stay in the A race moving forward. So let's just hope things get better from this point forward, because it's a very long drive from the Midlands.
How are you feeling with a herd of Mazdas behind you? I mean, I know you're one of more of our veteran drivers here, so I'm expecting good things.
Lindsay, did you just call me old?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I've been in the championship, 10, 11 years now. I've been out the front a few times. I've just got to focus on what I'm doing, and I've got to go and enjoy my race. And let everybody else worry about me rather than me worrying about them. Or at least that's what my mentor tells me.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, Martin, and I'm sure we'll see you on the podium at the end. So we're going to hand it straight over to Andy to run you through all of the grid.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, I, for one, am very happy to see that the conditions have improved for this race. Martin Tolley and Tim Dorr share the front row, with Nick Ledoyen, Joe Wiggin, one to watch here, and Charles Mugglestone, the 5 that got demoted from the A grid. Ivan Leary is next, ahead of Tom Mallett and Bryn Griffiths, then Jack Wilmot and Matthew Fletcher to round out the top 10. Graham Rumsey, Christopher Ginn, Michael Close and Richard Bartlett are next, ahead of Rob Mugglestone and Peter Lancaster. Then Steve Moody, Dale Whiteman, Ashley Heath and David Rickards, with Anthony Pettigrew, Paul Hughes, Bruce Robinson, Neil McGregor and Christina Holly at the back after that disqualification from the previous race. So, at the front of the field, Martin Tolley and Joe Wiggin, arguably the two pre-race favourites here then. Joe Wiggin had a moment in race 1A which put him right to the back of the grid. He really shouldn't be here on the B grid. That's certainly how he will feel. And if he shows the pace that we know that he's got, he may be able to run away with this. He'll have to come from 4th on the grid though, which will not be the easiest of feats. Getting ready to go racing then for 20 minutes here. Race 2B of the Mazda MX-5 Championship at Anglesey Circuit. Lights out, away they go, down towards turn number 1. A good start made from pole position by Martin Tolley by the looks of it. Not a great start by the yellow and green car of Tim Dorr though from the outside of the front row. And so through into second place might go Nick Ledoyen. Except actually through the first corner and the second phase of the start, Tim Dorr fights back and does indeed get to the hairpin at the banking in second position. Joe Wiggin in third for the time being, but already looking up the inside. Ledoyen's down to 4th place and then battling for 5th position. Charles Mugglestone, I think that is, with Ivan Leary. Further back, number 45 is Graham Rumsey there, trying to go through the middle of 2 cars through Church Corner. On board with Bruce Robinson, who's never far away from the action. He's got that car fixed, thankfully, after his sizable shunt yesterday, and is already carving his way through the field. The number 90 car started 23rd. He's something like 12th already. Joe Wiggin into second place now, and there's a sense of inevitability about this. They're 3 abreast behind though, and there's almost a sense of inevitability about this going wrong, isn't there? Because they're so close together again through the Rocket Complex. Thankfully though, in these slightly drier and grippier conditions, not so many sideways antics, and they've kept it clean for now. 21 there up the inside is Matthew Fletcher, trying to regain some ground that he lost after a spin in the latter stages of race 1. There's Nick Ledoyen, number 60, 3rd on the grid, down to 4th here. Can Tim Dorr do anything about Nick Ledoyen in the final lap or so? Up the hill, he's in the tow still, just about, closing in up the inside line. Wasn't close enough though really to make that one stick. Back out of Rocket again, and he is. This is definitely the battle to watch now, I think. This is of some significance with these transfer spots. Tim Dorr can nab it on the last lap, then might just be able to get himself back onto the A grid, but Ledoyen won't be wanting to hand this over without a fight. Oh, I wondered where Dorr had gone then. He was taking a very peculiar line down into the braking zone at the top of the corkscrew. So they go up the hill, down the straight, running parallel with them. Go the top 2, Joe Wiggin, and in second place Martin Tolley some way behind. There's a back marker between them, I believe, and Joe Wiggin comes out of the final corner to see the last lap board. So one more lap of the 2.1 mile Anglesey International Grand Prix circuit here for Joe Wiggin. And after a disappointing start to the weekend where he didn't qualify particularly well and then had a moment in race 1, possibly induced by the fact that he was running in such traffic that he's not really accustomed to. In race 2B, he has been the man to beat, and the number 41 machine is going to take its first victory of the year. It's a shame it's coming in a B race, because we've been saying all year long that he will likely win some A races before the year is out, but he'll take a victory in the B race. It's better than nothing, and he'll have to come from the back of the grid now in race 3A as well, so we'll watch with interest to see how he gets on in that one later on. But Joe Wiggin, you see this damage down the side of the car as well, a legacy we have to assume of race 1 yesterday. It's going really strongly, and there's no doubting Joe's credentials as a driver. Very, very quick indeed, regardless what you put him in. And Joe Wiggin, a star of the future, I think, in the Mazda MX-5 Championship. Heads down the hill. 3 corners to go on this international layout at Anglesey. Good to see the international circuit in use this weekend. We've seen a lot of action up at the hairpin, which is essentially the only addition really from the coastal circuit, these 2 long straights with the hairpin at the end of it. And it is a great overtaking opportunity. It produces lots of excitement, lots of drama as well. We've seen plenty of that just in this race alone. Down the hill he comes though, and Joe Wiggin with Martin Tolley closing on the final lap, and I don't think Wiggin is taking things particularly seriously on the final lap. He's just bringing the car home in one piece, and he is going to take the win in race 2B here at Anglesey Circuit. His first win of the year in the Mazda MX-5 Championship comes in a B race, but it's a win nonetheless for Joe Wiggin. Martin Tolley is second, Charles Mugglestone should come home in third, but he was some 10 seconds further back. There he is, comes across the start-finish line and celebrates a podium finish, and with it a transfer spot. Joining those three in race 3A will be Bryn Griffiths and Nick Ledoyen. Tim Dorr did not do enough in the end to get through into the A race. Ivan Leary, Matthew Fletcher, Tom Mallet and Bruce Robinson round out the top 10. And a good result that was for Robinson to get into the top 10 from the back of the grid. Jack Wilmot, Christina Holly, Mike Close, Graham Rumsey and Neil McGregor round out the top 15. There were no retirements from that race, remarkably, despite all of the action going on, particularly in the midfield. Some really good driving standards and great entertainment as always.
Joe, very impressive drive by yourself. You were out there. I'm sure there was a few seconds difference between you and the guys behind.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, we just had a bit more pace than everyone else. So thanks to Tucker Motorsport for a great car as always, and hopefully we can make up some places where we should be in the A.
So going back into the A this afternoon, you'll be starting 5th from the back. Got any plans?
Yeah, plans just to overtake as many people as I can, one way or another. We're coming through, so we're on a mission. So we'll try our best. But again, thanks to Tucker Motorsport again for a great car.
Third and final race for the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 B grid, and we are going to very quickly catch up with Michael Close. Now, Michael Close is a veteran of this sport here. Now, I'm just going to quickly check. Mike, you're pretty much classed as a veteran in this sport now, but this is your first time back out with these guys in over 18 months. So how are you feeling?
It's a quick learning circle. It's a strong learning curve again. When I thought I was going to come back in and slot straight back into roughly where I had a very sharp awakening yesterday.
So unfortunately it hasn't quite gone to plan this weekend, but do you feel like this final race might be lucky for you?
Yeah, the car's feeling good, I'm feeling good, I'm happy with what the crew's done. So yeah, let's give it a go. The weather's beautiful, it's Wales, it's a good circuit, why not?
Brilliant, well we wish you the best of luck. Right, we're going to hand it straight over to Andy to run you through that rest of the grid.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, speaking of close, I think we're going to see lots more close racing in this final B race of the weekend. Michael Nibbs, Richard Baxter, Tim Dorr, Ivan Leary and Tom Mallet at the front of the grid for this one. Bruce Robinson, Simon Orange and Jack Wilmot are next, ahead of Christina Holly and Michael Close inside the top 10 on the grid. Then it's Graham Rumsey with Neil McGregor alongside Richard Bartlett and Rob Mugglestone are on row 7, ahead of Ashley Heath and Pete Lancaster. Steve Moody and Christopher Ginn are on row 9, whilst Dale Whiteman and Anthony Pettigrew round out the top 20, ahead of David Ricard, David Waters, Charlie Rawls and Chris Malloy bringing up the rear. So we've got by far and away the warmest and brightest conditions we've had so far this weekend. The yellow machine of Michael Nibbs has the pole position with Richard Baxter alongside, those two having been demoted from the A race earlier on. Let's go racing then for the final time in the Mazda MX-5 Championship this weekend at Anglesey. We've had 2 entertaining races so far from the B grid. What does race 3 have in store for us? It's a good start by the looks of it, made from Nibbs from pole position, but going with him very much is Baxter around the outside. On board with Bruce Robinson looking backwards this time, and the mayhem behind him. We're going around the outside of Tim Dorr, who's not had a great start. Up the inside there, the orange number 67 car is Simon Orange, trying to gain ground as well. From 7th on the grid, and Mallet into the side of Tim Dorr there, and Graham Rumsey, ever the opportunist, will try and get up the inside as well. They're 3 abreast out of the banking, maybe 4 abreast in amongst there as well. There's a bit of contact, Tim Dorr ends up on the grass. It's been a first lap to forget this for Tim Dorr. He started this one 3rd, and he could be outside of the top 10 halfway around the opening lap. There are the top 2, Nibbs leads the way, Baxter in 2nd place, though he's already going for the race lead, pulls to the outside line towards Rocket, but the inside line should be the one that prevails here. Baxter is desperately late on the brakes though, but no, he can't quite go through. And look at that, Bruce Robinson from, where did he start this race? 6th on the grid, 3rd place already. That was brilliant stuff up the inside of Simon Orange. Ivan Leary's joining in the fun as well, having been a bit anonymous in a 7th place finish in the previous race. He's on the inside of Graham Rumsey now towards Peel Corner. Well, where on earth did Bruce Robinson come from? He was the last of the late breakers then into the braking zone at Rocket. Nibbs and Baxter, as you'd expect, the 2 drivers that were demoted from the A grid, they're starting to get away at the head of the field. I think that we're in for a really entertaining battle further back, and in fact we could be in for a really entertaining battle between these 2, because Baxter and Nibbs seem fairly evenly matched here. Through the hairpin, back down towards the final corner. Michael Nibbs runs a bit wide, Will he hang on just about? But he certainly won't be as quick off the corner as Baxter was. And Richard Baxter will no doubt have a go if he can. Behind Simon Orange is up the inside of Bruce Robinson for 3rd position. And it's 3 abreast for 6th as well. I'm not even going to try and work that one out just yet. Let's focus on the race leaders for the time being. The Yellow Machine and Michael Nibbs lead them out of the final corner. Richard Baxter right on his tail though. Simon Orange will be across the line in 3rd. Robinson 4th. Leary 5th. Mallet is 6th. And I can't even see who is in 7th. One more lap to do it though, because the last lap board goes out for the race leader. 2nd place is still very much up for grabs as well. And so too, the 4-way fight for 4th position. So lots to watch here on the final lap of the race. There's Simon Orange then, 2nd position. Michael Nibbs behind him in 3rd. As I said, we'll be a bit disappointed to have lost some positions from where he was in the first half of the race, but still a podium finish would be a really nice result for Michael, who again we've seen towards the sharp end quite a lot this year in these B races. Particularly Pembrey, I seem to recall. Can he get a 2nd place finish from this one though? That's the question. It's going to be a bit of a tough ask, but if there's even half a chance, he's going to go for it. There's Richard Baxter though, the race leader. He's had a pretty faultless drive, bided his time, waited for the move to present itself really. And when it did, he seized the opportunity straight away, got to the inside and went through into a lead that, at least to this point, he's not given up. Still about a 1/3 of a lap to go though. Very easy to make a mistake around this circuit as we've seen. It's caught some drivers out already in this race. But Richard Baxter looking like he's on course for the race victory here in race 3B at Anglesey. The hill he goes. Simon Orange there is still 2nd. Michael Nibbs still 3rd. And then what's going on for 4th place? I wonder if we'll maybe see them for the checkered flag. At last check, it was still 52 Jack Wilmot in front, but Charlie Rawls was giving him a real workover. None of that, though, particularly concerns the leading 3, who, as you can see, in very blustery conditions, at least according to that wind turbine there, are going to come home podium finishes at Anglesey. Richard Baxter is going to see the checkered flag first, and he is going to win race 3B here at Anglesey Circuit. A brilliant victory, a well-measured victory it was. Simon Orange comes home 2nd. Michael Nibbs will be 3rd. And they will be your final podium finishers of the day. Jack Wilmot hangs on to 4th position as well. A great result for him. Charlie Rawls 5th. Ivan Leary, Bruce Robinson, Michael Close gets into the top 10 again, ahead of Tim Dorr and Christina Holly to round out the top 10. The fastest lap went the way of the race winner, Richard Baxter, on the final lap of the race as well. And once more, there was only the one non-finisher. David Waters unfortunately retired into the pit lane at the end of the opening lap. Despite that, elsewhere, it was a very clean race and another really entertaining race from the B grid.
Massive congratulations. Last race of the weekend in top step on the podium. Can you quickly talk me through that race?
Well, I mean, it was an interesting one. I mean, I got a reasonable start. I'm losing my voice, by the way, so you're going to have to excuse me. Yeah, I got a pretty good start, but not good enough quite to get around Michael. You know, he's obviously been doing this a while because he was just so difficult to get around. So I was just following for laps and laps and laps. And eventually, I just started to notice where he was just a little bit slower than me on the exit. From there, I managed just to get him over the side of the circuit, like squeeze him in just to get that last corner a little bit better on the racing line than him, and that's where I did the pass. I think it was on the pit straight, so that was quite a nice place to do the pass, so my engineer could watch and have a bit of fun with it too. So yeah, it was a good race after that. It was just had to pump in some fast laps and just get on with it.